Welcome to SportsBuzz. Coming up on the show, we have some Week 7 NFL highlights, and the NBA is back, and Gino and I will have some in-depth analysis about that. And we cannot forget about the World Series in a competitive game 1 and 2. Also, stay tuned for the top 10 and not top 10. Welcome to SportsBuzz, everybody. Well, tonight on the show, we have a lot to get to, and we're going to start out with some NFL, so we're going to pass it on over to Gino and let him get into that.
Absolutely. Ty, I know we have a lot of NFL games to get to today, a lot of great football action as the NFL had some great games, some really tight games, and some great plays all around the league. We're going to start things off in Buffalo, where the Bills took on the Buccaneers in a hard-fought battle. And right here, we'll get things started with the highlight in New Era Field. Tyrod Taylor already up 10-6, throws one to Logan Thomas over the head of the defense. And Logan Thomas excited, getting Bills Mafia excited. Bills take a 17-6 lead, but the Bucs would not back down as O.J. Howard would find the end zone there. And that would cut the deficit to 4. O.J. Howard here with a little fake dunk, then a little Gronk spike, as that's his second career NFL touchdown. Then Jameis Winston, 20-13. Now Bills finds Howard wide open after getting hit in the end zone. That would tie the game up at 20. Now the Buccaneers driving once again, looking to take the lead. Winston would bounce out to the right, then find Evans, who just gets his feet and bounds for the touchdown to take the 27-20 lead. But the Bills would not be done as LaShawn McCoy finds the end zone there off the run right up the middle, and then they finish the game off with a field goal game winner with just 14 seconds left on the clock. The Bills would take this one 30-27 as they would beat the Buccaneers there. O.J. Howard, in only his seventh NFL game, would put up great numbers, have 6 receptions for 98 yards and 2 TDs in this one.
Here we're in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Aaron Jones finds an opening in the middle he runs it back for 46 yards to put the Packers on the board first, and you see the madness. The fans are loving this one. There he goes, right there into the ground, and this is the Saints' chance to get it going here, and Breeze throws that pick, and Demarius Randall is the one who gets that interception. Breeze finds Ingram on the handoff, and that is a touchdown for the Saints to finally get them rolling and get them on the board. And Hudley fakes a throw, and he's going to take this one in himself. All the way in for a touchdown. In this one, we see the pile on, and Breeze jumps over the defenders into the end zone. And the Packers were going to take this one 26-17. The Saints improved to 4-2, and they will be first in the NFC South.
Now we take our talents from Green Bay to South Beach, where the Dolphins took on the Jets in an AFC East matchup that could have changed the trajectory of both teams' seasons. We get things started here in the first quarter. Jay Cutler drops back, loops this one deep into coverage, but Kenny Stills with an unbelievable play. The ref calls it incomplete, but the call would be reversed, and Jay Cutler would find Jarvis Landry in the back of the end zone for a touchdown to tie things up at 7. Then McCown drops back, now 21-14 here in the second half. McCown rolls to the right, finds Austin Seferian-Jenkins to put the Jets up 28-14. But the Dolphins would come back. Matt Moore now in the game after Jay Cutler gets injured, finds Kenny Stills, and Kenny Stills gets a grab there, would get another one here from Matt Moore. That would be his second on the day, tie the game up at 28 for the Dolphins, complete the comeback. And then Josh McCown would looking for the Jets to get on the board for the first time in about a full quarter, but would be intercepted by Bryce McCain, setting up the Dolphins' game-winning field goal by Cody Parkey. A 39-yard attempt is good, and the Dolphins would take this one, completing the comeback 31-28. A nice gritty performance there by the Dolphins. They fought the Jets all the way through, even when they were down, finishing off the game and getting the W.
We have a NFC East Conference matchup on some Monday Night Football, and here Carson finds Hollins on a long one, and he's off to the races. That is a touchdown, and we're going to see a little victory dance right there from Hollins. He's feeling it, and he's loving it. And we see Wentz here to Ertz, and he's brought down by cornerback Kendall Fuller. Wentz left side to Ertz once again, this time in the end zone. We have a touchdown there for the Philadelphia Eagles. Wentz escapes some pressure, and he finds Hollins again. And Kirk Cousins to Reed for the easy one, and that is a touchdown to put the Redskins on the board. And Cousins finds Reed again, puts the Skins within 10, but it wasn't enough to pull this one out. The Skins will go on to lose this one 24-34, but it was a great competitive matchup on this Monday night extreme football game.
Well, there was a lot of NFL football action, as you could see there, and for that, we had to go out and get one of our best analysts, Samantha. Samantha, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get right into it. A lot of teams had actually poor offenses this weekend. You couldn't tell from those highlights, though. But specifically talking about the Cardinals, who lost Carson Palmer this week. Seems he's going to be out for 8 weeks. What do you think they'll have to do to change and improve the team with Carson out?
I think first things first. I mean, it sounds a little cheesy, but you have to have that winning mentality. You can't, my quarterback's out, we're going to lose. You have to have that. And they know that they were bad. They know that they need to step up, especially their defense. And we know that Drew Stanton can win. Again, it's all about stepping up. When your quarterback is out, they're kind of the leader of the team. So everybody around them needs to step up, or else they're going to have the rest of the season. It's just going to be bad.
Absolutely. And, Drew Stanton, he's a leader on that sideline. You always see him with those celebrations, so I'm sure he can be a leader on that field. So it would be interesting to see how that plays out for them.
Absolutely.
So the Panthers, Giants, and the Falcons all scored only once in their games. So if you were to give them some advice on their offense, what would you tell them?
I think the Falcons, statistically, they're really bad in the third down. Again, you got to play better than what you're doing. You need to run the ball. Obviously, that's the name of the game. And we're just seeing not a lot of people playing the game right. I mean, we got to do that. The Panthers, you got to protect the quarterback better, obviously. Cam Newton, again, it's basics of football, and it just seems that these teams are kind of not doing that. The Giants, we've seen the Giants. There's a lot of injuries. I don't know if they're going to be doing better. I mean, they have Eli Manning. He's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But I'm not sure, again, other than running the ball and protecting your quarterback, what the Giants are going to be able to do to pull out a good win this season. We're going to have to wait and see.
Well, moving forward here, there were teams that did perform well this weekend. We saw the Eagles, who had a great performance. The Rams, they're running the ball well, like you mentioned, teams need to do. So there are those few teams. Do you think these teams can keep it up through the rest of the season, or think teams will figure them out watching more film as the season goes on?
I think the Eagles, definitely. I'm going to make a bold prediction right now and say they can make it to the playoffs if they keep playing the way that they're playing. Their quarterback, Jared Goff, he's playing at MVP. I know I've heard some early talk about MVP, this early on. He's playing at those levels that he needs to be playing at. He's a rookie. So I definitely think they have what it takes. If they keep up the way that they're playing, they're going to go far. And the Rams, again, Jared Goff, he's improving. Again, another rookie in the game. If we just keep playing the way that they're playing, they're going to go far too.
And we'll take a look at the graphic from some of the shutouts that we mentioned before. The Rams actually one end of the shutout. The Arizona Cardinals, as we mentioned before, the other end of the shutout, they had a 33-0 win. The Chargers, both teams from Los Angeles, having great weekends, shut out the Broncos, and then Jacksonville Jaguars taking it against Indianapolis. These teams are having tough times, especially the Broncos, a team who typically doesn't have a tough time, who typically has been up at the top of the food chain here in the NFL for the past couple of years. And now getting more, continuing with this topic, there have been teams, especially the Browns, who just have had very unlucky, you could say, games. What would you say the Browns need to do now just to kind of get out of that funk maybe? Maybe they're just in that funk. How do they get out of that?
I think you need to just rethink what you're doing. Clearly, how you're playing isn't working. Maybe run some new plays. But if you're sitting in a funk, you can't just keep sitting there. You're gonna have to see really what you're doing is wrong and improve on that.
Well, Sam, we want to thank you for your time. We should put you out there in some pads and stuff like that because you really know the game of football and you did a great job. We'll be back here on SportsBuzz shortly. SportsBuzz is brought to you by The Vitamin Shop. With over 300 locations nationwide, shopping has never been easier. Use a convenience store location or shop online at vitaminshop.com.
Welcome back to SportsBuzz. We've talked a lot about football today, but we're going to actually move from the football field to the basketball court where the NBA season is starting. And Ty, we've had a lot of great performances so far this season, a lot of surprises, but also a lot of teams performing just as we expected. So how did you feel, about the beginning of the season as a basketball player yourself?
I think the beginning of the season has been awesome. First of all, we have some teams who aren't performing at the level that I think they should be performing at, but I think they're going to come around, such as Golden State. They just came off a championship. They're tired, but I'm expecting a little bit more out of them right now. And then a team that is doing well to me, I would say, is the Washington Wizards, but I won't speak too much about that. We'll get into that a little more later. But, yeah, I think the NBA has been really exciting, a lot of new faces, and then, you have the veterans who you expect to perform. So, so far it's been great.
Yeah, and I think the parity in the league is actually starting to, become more evident. I think teams are starting to even up a little bit. Unfortunately, the Celtics, who were supposed to be a competitor of the Cavs, Gordon Hayward went down there in the first game of that season. But I think we'll see a lot more even games and a lot more games that are a lot more competitive. But, you talked about the Golden State Warriors. A lot of people have talked about the Golden State Warriors as winning another championship. And me and Ty here, we actually came up with our top 5 teams in the NBA. And we'll get right to that right now. Actually, we're going to take a look at the top 5 teams. We're going to take my top 5 teams first, actually. And top of the list, of course, just like everybody else, I have the Golden State Warriors. And then number 2, probably just like everybody else, now that Gordon Hayward is out with the Celtics, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then I finish out the rest of it with the Western Conference, because I think that no matter what, the Western Conference is still much more powerful than the Eastern Conference. Finish it out with the San Antonio Spurs, Houston Rockets, and then the Memphis Grizzlies, which a lot of people probably are surprised by. But actually, I saw this the other day. The Memphis Grizzlies are the only team since the beginning of last season to have a winning record against the top 3 Western Conference teams that I have above them on this board. So if they can get in the playoffs, get in a good matchup, a 7-game series, I think their defense can definitely hold them out.
Interesting enough, I think your top 5 is very similar to my top 5, so we'll get on into that, where I think the Wizards are in for a great one right now. So they're 3-1 right now. They went down last night against the Lakers in overtime, but John Wall, he's averaging 23 points right now, nearly a double-double with 9.8 assists a game, and I don't think you can get any play that is better than what he's playing right now. The Golden State Warriors, their experience just tops it all. They may not be playing at their best right now, but when it comes down to it, you still have Kevin Durant, who's an awesome stretch player. You have Curry, who's shooting the lights out, and you also have Draymond Green, who wants to bang inside with him? Nobody. We also have the Cavs, who I think are going to do well. Isaiah Thomas, that's a player that I was looking forward to seeing play. And he's not healthy right now, but once he comes back, I think the Cavs are going to be on a better pace. And LeBron, he just knows how to win. And when you have a player on your team who knows how to win games and expects to win games, he'll get back to, I personally think, the championship once everybody on that team gets healthy and gets ready to go. And then, of course, I have the Spurs. That team is a mix of new and then veterans. You have Kawhi Leonard, who does what Leonard does. He just scores. He's a dominant scorer, and I think that's what they're going to need out of him and continue to need out of him. But how about LaMarcus Aldridge? He is leading the Spurs actually with a double-double, so I also think that's great. And we definitely can't forget about the Lakers. Personally, I think they're going to be the steal. People are sleeping on them right now, but they are a very young squad, and a lot of people are talking about Lonzo Ball, but they don't understand how well he's playing to my extent. He's passing the ball at a level that is very elite, and I think the scoring is going to come. He's going to get used to the pace and all that, and I really see them having a great season. And
speaking of Lonzo Ball, I love Lonzo Ball. He is a true point guard, something we don't see too many times in the NBA now. And actually, he's had some controversy already. You know, of course, his father, LeVar Ball, always in the news. But we actually have the tweet right here. LeVar Ball was in the news again, and Marcin Gortat, a member of the Wizards who they played last night, actually commented on the tweet saying, "Man, please, at John Wall will torture him for 48 minutes." And it's crazy that already this kid has played 5 games. But in 5 games, is it 5 games? I'm not even sure if it's 5 games yet. And they're already going at him. But is it even his fault? Is Lonzo doing anything, or is it all because of his father?
Well, personally, I think it's because of his father. His father put this pressure on him for him to perform at a high level. You haven't heard really a peep out of Lonzo himself. So when it all comes down to it, it definitely goes back to the father and what he says. And sure, people are going to tweet and do what they do. That's the day and age that we're in. But I think he'll let his game speak for himself, and that's all he can do.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of his game, we had some highlights right there showing some of what he can do, and he's just a phenomenal player, phenomenal passer. I think he's had double-digit assists in at least 3 of the 4 games that they've played already this season, really showing his talents already this season, which is awesome to see. It's great to see those young guys. But we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to get right back to the action after this with another special guest. We're going to take a quick break, though. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Sports Buzz. We are here with expert baseball analysis, Amani Alston. Amani, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Okay, so we're going to jump right into the World Series. So what is your perspective from Game 1 and Game 2?
Honestly, Game 1 and Game 2 were great games. Game 1, I mean, Kershaw, amazing. 11 strikeouts, most since Bob Gibson. He's been doing a great job there. We can see that pitching was very key in that game. Even Turner came and helped him out with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 6th. That came great to help them get the lead. Game 2, I mean, that was just one of the best baseball games in the World Series history. 8 home runs scored. That's not even heard of. 8 home runs. I mean, they came out swinging, both teams, but the Astros took it away. They really came in and they really commanded, up at bat. They came out and swung hard, especially Gonzalez and Altuve, and even Carrera. He had a home run in the bottom of the 10th. Top of the 10th, he had a home run, and that was great.
So, if it gets to 7 games, who do you think is going to take it off? Because you have Kershaw, who's playing at a different level right now. He's being phenomenal, just striking people out. So let me get your perspective on that.
Honestly, if it goes to 7 games, I have to go with the Astros. They are hitting phenomenal right now. They've been hitting great since the postseason. When they first played the Yankees, their bats were hot. They could not be stopped. So I'm going to go with the Astros. If their pitchers can stay in it, Verlander if Verlander can stay in it, they'll be great in that aspect. So I'm going to take them over the Dodgers in 7 games.
And what do you think is going to be the deciding factor between all of this? Like, what level of play is going to have to increase in order for the Astros to come through and win it all?
Astros have to get their pitchers together. If they can stay on top of them, they're going to be great. Striking out the Dodgers is where they're going to be at. They got a steal in Game 2, so now they took home field advantage away from the Dodgers, but They need to win these 3 at home. They have to win them at home so that way they can go back, and when they get for Game 7, they'll be able to steal another one. But they got a nice steal in Game 2, which is great.
So you keep calling these games steals. Why wasn't it a steal instead of just a great win for the Astros? There's obviously something, a dividing line where you think that the Dodgers should have potentially won Game 2?
I mean, honestly, Kershaw, he threw good in the first game, but then you come out to Game 2 and you have Hill, he's throwing great, and you get to the top of the 9th inning and you're sitting here and you're trying to figure out, well, they should be able to, Jensen comes in, he should be able to get the save and they should go home. Something happens in their bullpen, they fumble, they can't seem to stop them from hitting the ball out of the park. I mean, it just went downhill, and the Astros took advantage of their bullpen flop, and they came out striking.
And in the next game, do you think the Astros will be able to pull off getting as many home runs as they had in their previous win in Game 2?
They're home. They're home. You're back in Houston. You're back where you belong. And I feel like you're going to be able to get the win as good. You're going to be able to get that win because when they played the Yankees, they did a great job when they went back home to where they handled their business, where they needed to be. So I feel like that's where they're going to get their win at when they go back home.
Well, you heard it here first. Amani has the Astros in 7, and you'll see the World Series coming up, and we'll have some predictions and more coming up for you here on SportsBuzz.
SportsBuzz is brought to you by Berkshire Hathaways. Prudential Home and Sale is now Berkshire Hathaway. New name, new look, and same great company. Welcome back to SportsBuzz. We've seen a lot of highlights today, everything from football to basketball to baseball, but now it's time for the best of the best, the top 5, so let's get right to it. Take a look at some of the plays right here. Number 5, Cam Newton passing there. Intercepted. What a great play there by Eddie Jackson. Unbelievable job there, right, Ty?
Oh, yeah, he's taking this one to the house. And what do you think comes after this? Yeah, that's right, a touchdown. And we're going to move on to the 4th play. Right here we see wide receiver Kenny Stills. We've seen this one earlier, but yeah, he picks this one off. Oh, no, he doesn't. He deflects that a little bit. Oh, yeah, well, there we go. He got it. We'll see that again.
Great catch there. Unbelievable catch. Now number 3 here, Ezekiel Elliott. He's squeaking out to the right side there, gets a nice block, and then all the way down the sideline he goes. Wow, what a run. That is unbelievable. Almost gets tripped up there, but finishes off the play for the touchdown. As you see there, almost trips out of bounds, but gets it there.
We have the top 2 play right here. We'll see wide receiver Paul Richardson. With this one, he threw that.
I was at that game. Heartbreaker.
You were at that game. No, you weren't. He's lying, people.
I was actually at that game.
Okay, and here we go. For the top play of the week, we'll see quarterback Carson Wentz. He gets through everybody. And this was
unbelievable job there. It's like reminiscent of little Eli Manning back in the 2007 Super Bowl. And now I think it's time, Ty. We've seen the top plays. How about we get into a little of the not top plays, some of the embarrassing moments of this past week. So we start out with play number 5 here. Looks like the Lakers and the Clippers. Oh, just you hate to see that. You definitely hate to see that. Take another look at it there. Up for the dunk and just gets rejected.
Just way far off. Here's the next play. We have a little bit of college football, and honestly, I don't even know what to say. What is that? What happened? Where did it go?
Oh, this guy.
Oh, and he's upset. He's just as upset as how I feel right here on this set.
Number 3 now. We get a little soccer here. This goalie right here makes the save but carries the ball into the net. Unbelievable. Can't believe he did that. It's a no-no in soccer.
I think he thought they were playing the other football. I don't know what that was right there, but it wasn't a very smart play. It's okay though, buddy.
A little hug from the from Lukaku there. Now number 2, we'll go back to college football. USC. Darno out to the left side. The wide receiver drops the pass, but it was a lateral, so it's actually a fumble. Doesn't realize it, doesn't even go after it. Come on, no dedication there, no passion. And then finally for the top one here, you got Auburn doing an onside kick, or
what he thought was going to be one.
Georgia Tech, against Miami. and it actually gets taken back for a touchdown. Unbelievable there.
That is
Unfortunate
what
turn
you
of
do
events.
not do.
Yeah, you don't want that to happen. That's the opposite of
That's
what
how
you
you
like
get your
to
job
happen.
taken away. You get fired by doing things like that.
Well, that's all we have for you here on this edition of Sports Buzz. Make sure to tune in next time for everything you need to know about the sports happening around the world. I'm Gino Ganello.
And I'm Tykira Carter. Thank you for joining us here on Sports Buzz.